What up, y'all? Welcome back to episode. What episode is this?
I think 6, episode 6.
Is it episode 6?
Yeah, because we skipped a week, and then the last time was like episode 5, and then we literally said in that episode that if you don't make it to 8, you usually fail as a podcast.
We missed like 2 weeks. Anyway, we missed last week. That one was on me. I think we missed the week before too.
Are you okay?
I started choking out. I don't know what happened. There's like some spit in my throat. I was eating some candies earlier. You know, you get that thick spit from the candies.
No, I know.
Anyway, somebody will understand me.
We need to restart.
No, I don't think so. I think we're fine. Why are we restarting? I think this is great. I think we should leave that in there. What are you, inside of the hoodie? What is wrong with you?
Are we still rolling? Oh, we can keep it. No, we gotta cut it. I just rubbed my nose.
There's a boogie.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Where's it at?
Cut, Palmer.
Where's it at?
Cut.
Where's it? Oh wait, we got Pete off. What are you doing, Pete off?
He cut straight. To. Is that gonna show up on there? He cut. I love that. Leave it. That's hilarious. Huh?
No, we weren't talking because it feeds in while the video's playing.
And then instead of after the intro video, instead of cutting us, Palmer cut straight to his camera.
Well, y'all got to see Palmer. Okay, we're just gonna roll with it.
Do we have the same intro?
Yeah, it just happened. So if you're listening, you should probably go watch the YouTube because I want to go back and watch the YouTube, but
or if you're on Spotify, you can watch.
Oh yeah. So Spotify.
They have the watch feature now.
Yeah, they have the watch feature. Well, welcome back. You obviously heard we're at episode 6. Today's a very exciting episode. We're talking about biblical hospitality.
For sure.
What better way than to have somebody who is studying hospitality?
Vice President of the Coastal Georgia. Is it Vice President or President? President.
Vice President.
Vice President of the Coastal Georgia Hospitality Club.
President of Converge.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's the Converge. Oh, no, that's a cool club too.
I was just saying relevance to hospitality.
But think about it.
Yeah.
Hospitality and Jesus together.
Sure.
So, Koi, stop. Why are you doing that?
It feels so good, bro.
But people are probably hearing that going, what is that noise, man? We got these $300 microphones, and you making them sound like they're $100 ones.
They sound good, like this foam on your beard, bro. See, it feels good, don't it?
No, it doesn't feel that good. But anyway, Koi, which... Anyways.
Will the mic pick that up?
I don't know if the mic's going to pick that up, but... Do you have anything to say for yourself while we've been gone for 2 weeks?
It was my fault. We've been busy.
Thank you. I just want him to admit it. It was his fault.
Yeah, we had chances. And
we had this great idea. We were going to record on Halloween.
Yeah.
And we were all going to wear our Halloween costumes. Yeah. We were Toy Story.
It's okay. We got a really good Thanksgiving episode coming up.
Oh, yeah. Butterball turkey.
Yeah.
The butterball and a ham and green beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs. Anyways, all right, Palmer, roll the intro. Let's get our guest on here.
Let's show.
Why are we so gassy?
Hello?
Did you fart?
No, I almost burped into
I'm
the
a little.
microphone.
I don't know if I'm like a little embarrassed to be on here now.
You can leave.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Hold on.
That was a complete joke.
Yeah, you can joke on here. I'm not nervous about it, but listen,
No, like
we have to run her down the podcast etiquette. You clap a lot. You can't clap in the microphone.
sorry.
Katie be talking like this.
So then I guess I can't laugh.
No, you can laugh. Just don't clap. That's funny though. People be all the time that be hitting the table when they get so passionate.
Banner was what is he snapping in the mic?
Banner kept snapping into the mic. Be
Like
careful.
I just
There.
feel like
Is
I
that
need
good?
to like
Yeah,
a little bit
Be
closer
careful
to be
though.
heard.
That chair.
Palmer, can you still see me?
Kaylin picked it up last week and all the legs fell out. So don't go too crazy. Cause
Okay,
wow.
okay.
But hey, if you help us get those subscribers up and like and
Yeah,
subscribe,
we can get some better chairs for our guests.
Exactly, we could get some revenue going, get some sponsorships. But anyways, well, I'm excited. Katie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I am actually honored.
This
so.
is Katie Mulrooney.
Hey, I'm
Sorry, we haven't even
Katie.
introduced her.
Do I need to like bend down or is that unnecessary?
I think that's right. Yeah, that's right there.
Hello. Okay.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, you can put it on the
You
edge.
can go up like this too.
Oh.
No, don't go
Okay.
too far up.
Can
Don't
I
go too-
hold it? Or?
No, don't hold it. This
okay.
is
It's
that's
actually
it.
kind
like
of.
Bobby
This is
Allen.
that podcast.
Yo, what up, dog?
I was ready
Yo,
to go.
hold. I got my microphone
I
sideways.
can't.
No, who's the girl that she holds the mic?
Bobby Altoff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's that's a really good podcast.
That is
That's
good.
why I think you and her remind me so much of each other. I feel like
Who?
Bobby Altoff, like you could do this like satire, like straight, like Latin, like she doesn't laugh. That's her
Yeah.
humor.
Hmm.
Like
Like a straight.
Yeah,
straight face.
yeah, like that.
Blunt.
It's so funny.
I didn't know if you were being serious.
No, I'm genuine right now. Can I
Oh.
just say, actually, no.
Okay,
This
yeah.
is really hard for me, actually,
Why?
because you guys are like the leaders, but I feel like I should be like leading the conversation, but I have to let you, like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you lead the conversation, and
called
I
surrender.
don't have to.
Ooh.
I really wanted to clap right then. Okay, thank you, Goy. I appreciate it. I
I'm
was
kidding.
just gonna say,
I'm kidding,
I've
Katie.
always wanted to be on a podcast, so this
And
is
you're
like a
on one.
dream come
Yeah.
true.
Bucket
you're
list
on one.
item right here.
Maybe
Check.
there
Am I
should-
allowed to
maybe-
say like my favorite podcast, or is that like a copyright thing?
No, I think you can.
No, we be shouting
Okay.
people out
Yeah,
on
who-
here all the time.
are you gonna?
Really?
I know who it is.
Who
Hold on,
is
should
it?
I guess?
Sure.
It's the Whoa That's Good podcast by Sadie Robertson.
Yes, and it's my favorite, and I listen to every episode.
Have you ever met her?
And I haven't. It'd be cool to meet her.
Come on, Sadie.
And I listen to
She's
every
gonna watch
episode, and
this.
I'm like, oh, one day, maybe I'll be on there.
We should. I'll just spam her assistant with this link saying
Yeah.
Sadie has to watch this.
Hammer.
But ignore the intro.
Oh yeah,
Just
the intro
kidding.
is wild.
I think the intro's hilarious. Y'all
I-
keep
I
dogging
know.
on the intro, but it is funny.
I guess people are used to it.
But well, I'm excited for this podcast. Hey, Coy,
up?
we got a couch in here now. We got
Yeah.
some audience members.
Yeah.
We got Markel in here.
We got the paparazzi in here. We got a photographer. If y'all hear
Yeah.
camera shutters, we're getting our pictures took tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Hit
I
that shutter. Hit the
I
shutter.
wish we had a camera behind you that could just like.
There we go.
Look at that.
There we go.
Okay. But we got Katie, and we're going to talk about biblical hospitality, which I'm very excited for. But I think everyone deserves to get to know you. So we ask this question a lot. So, and if
Okay.
you listen to any of the other podcasts, some people struggle with it, some people got it. But if you were to make a holiday out of something to celebrate, what would it be?
So I was actually prepared for this because I listened to a podcast. So
Well,
I've been
she's a
thinking a little
listener.
bit, but I have to be honest, I think I might have forgotten. So
She came in.
no, I remembered.
Stage
I
fright.
remembered.
She came in going,
This is
I'm-
weird. I
know,
mean, this
you
is
came
not
in,
as normal.
You're like, I'm so ready for this, and you're like, I'm gonna hold on.
Okay,
my
no, I'm
thoughts.
ready. It came to me now. So I think that there should be a holiday. I don't know if this counts, but something that has to do with like, this could be like a bad thing, but people have to like, everybody has to travel. So like
Oh.
one
Travel
day
day.
where everybody has to, everybody has to go somewhere
Like
new.
the Exodus.
Yeah. I'm thinking.
I don't know. And then
Wait,
the
hold
other,
But
the,
that, I'm sorry.
the other part of it was that maybe people like switch houses.
No, I got
Oh.
it. I got it. How about
Like
you switch
where-
places with people for the day?
Like like
What's-
the
what-
movie.
what's that one
sorry,
movie?
there's something
Yeah,
like
where the
that.
twins do
The
that.
movie, The Holiday.
The Holiday. That movie is
And
so
that's
good.
what came to my head of like, what if everybody had like an Airbnb and then you had to
Or-
like make your house hospitable and.
Okay, we're getting into that.
What's the
Sorry,
holiday? I've
no,
never
I'm-
seen this.
You've
It's
never
good.
seen The
It's
Holiday?
Anna Grace
good.
takes me the night. I was asking what she was doing. She said she was watching it, but I've never heard of it. What is it?
Oh my gosh, you gotta go
It's
watch
like
it.
this couple.
Cameron Diaz and I can't remember.
I thought it was a rom-com.
It
It
is.
is.
Who is it? Kate what? Winslet.
They
What's it about?
switch
Shout out to
places.
Amelia, and that she's keeping us on track with the. But one is a paper. She writes
It's
papers.
like the city, and then the other's like in the mountains, or like
Yeah.
I think it's like I think it's in a different country.
Yeah, one's in like England and one's in. But anyways, they swap houses for the holiday, and so Cameron Diaz's character goes to L.A. where or no, goes to where she is in London, and the girl in London in the country goes to L.A.
Yeah.
And then they end up, so you just got to watch it. But I'm vibing with that, and I think that's a great idea. What if you had somebody that, it was like pen pal that you grew up knowing, and then at, like, a certain age, you have to, like, swap houses and, like.
That could work. And there's, like, one day.
Yeah.
It just could go very wrong. But
7 million people
in a perfect
or 7
world,
billion people trying to fly at the same time.
Yeah.
Not enough airplanes.
But there could be like certain people. Sorry, we don't have to drag this on. But there could be certain people that are flying, certain people that are taking a boat,
Or
some people
car.
drive. Yeah.
Boats.
Trains.
What are we, Christopher Columbus out here?
Have you ever heard of a cruise, Coy?
Yeah, they could cruise.
A cruise.
But what if you're not going that far? So, like, what if your person is in the Dominican Republic? You could just drive to Miami and get on a boat for a few days or a day and go, you know?
No, I don't know. That's not how my brain works. Never have ever been like, yeah, I'm going to drive here and then get on this boat and go
Well,
here.
there's several
like-
modes of transportation.
Yeah. Like, for people that don't like, so example, we tried to get my mom to go to the Bahamas a few months ago with my sister, and she won't get on an airplane. And so my sister's like, well, then I'll put your butt on a boat, and you could just ride the ferry. It takes a day to get there, or like a couple hours. Maybe it's like 6 or 7 hours. But you're on a boat instead of being in the air, you know? And
What did your mom say, yeah?
no, she didn't say that because she was scared to
Exactly,
get in
'cause
a
she got some sense. Ain't nobody get on a boat for 7 hours just to go somewhere. Unless it's a cruise ship.
I've done something similar, maybe like 3 hours. It was pretty bad though.
See?
Y'all got sick.
See?
So, okay, say if you want to go to Nantucket, you're going to be the guy with the riding in the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Who do you know that has a private jet?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We know some. Hey, if
We
you
got
have a,
connections.
if you, yeah.
Goes
Like,
there.
Actually, I do. There's a guy back in Dublin that flies people private.
Oh.
There you go.
We know pilots for
Yeah.
sure. We don't know. We ain't got
They
a
have their
plane
own.
though.
He's got his own
Wait,
airplane.
there's somebody I talked to recently, but I don't know.
Anna Grace. He flew Anna Grace and them up to Lynchburg from Dublin one time.
That's cool. Well, okay. Second question, Coy. Do you got one for her? Because I got questions. Well, what you got? Get to know her questions. People got to know Katie. They got to understand who she is.
Why hospital? No, we'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to that in a minute. This is like get to know her.
Sorry.
Are you talking to the people off the
Yeah,
camera?
sorry. I feel like I'm like sinking, but I'm just like not gonna think about it that much.
Yeah, don't think about it too
Okay.
much. That chair doesn't
All
go
right,
best.
am I
Go with the
contact?
normal questions, Wayne.
Okay,
Normal
go with
questions.
okay. We got the normal questions. We'll just here's a quick one. What's your favorite color?
Pink.
Pink.
We're just gonna rapid fire questions. at you.
Pink.
What's your fa-
P-I-N-K.
What's your favorite candy?
All right, what do you, please use it in a sentence.
Favorite candy?
Wait, what do you?
Favorite candy, not Twizzlers. Sorry.
Oh, Twizzlers are bussin'.
But let's see. I really love those. Remember those sweet tart ropes?
Those are
with the
bussin'.
nerds on them.
No. These
Those
are.
are
I
nerd
know it.
ropes.
Yes,
Sweet tart ropes are like the gummies.
Yes, I
and, like,
remember. I've had to go to when I
Yeah.
went to the store to get everybody candy one time. You were like, "This is the exact ones," and it has like the red,
Yeah.
and then on the inside's like the.
Yeah, those be busting.
Sorry, someone's trying to say something
Okay.
to me off camera. and
Okay.
I-
What do you?
Favorite
you can
food.
text me.
Favorite food.
You trying to get me
Favorite
that-
food. I really.
Oh, he's already made a debut. Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. No,
I
we're gonna
really,
get there.
I really love soup.
Oh, I knew this
So
about
hold
you.
on,
yes.
hold on. So favorite soup is French onion soup.
Okay,
Not a
wait,
lot
hold
of people
on.
like it.
What is French onion
I was
soup?
finna
You want to
ask,
hear
that
my
don't even sound
favorite
good.
meal? You want to hear my like meal?
If you here's a good question.
French onion
if you're on
soup.
death row, is this your
Yes,
last meal?
yeah. French onion soup. If you've never had it, it's a bunch of onions and they're like caramelized. It's this really good broth, and then on top is this like some people put croutons. Panera puts croutons, but a lot of restaurants put like a piece of bread, and then there's a bunch of cheese, like
Speaking
that
of Panera,
pours
we have something to
over,
say.
pours over the thing, and then it's like you eat it. Okay, so French onion soup. I just don't know how to describe it. You just have to have it. It's really salty.
What makes
and then
it French?
a well done. It's just French. I don't know.
It's like
It
French
is.
fries. We'll make them
Yeah.
French.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, just, if it's just onion soup, why are we calling it French onion soup and not onion soup?
Well, why we call them French fries and just not fries?
I think
I
it's
guess
the
they're made by
bread
France or
because I
something.
think it's
don't
like
know.
a baguette on top.
Anyway.
I could be so wrong though.
Okay.
So do I need to look up the definition?
No, it's
or-
good. It's
okay.
good.
So then next would be like a steak and a well done steak.
A female.
What?
That steak is their second. Whoa.
Well done. She wants it.
Still, her wanting a steak as her last meal.
That's
Well
true.
done.
That's true.
With A1 steak sauce.
But I do recall
But
making her
Not
a
done.
steak one time, and it was a little too red, and she says, "I just don't want to eat it because it looks too meaty." Like
true.
I'm like, it looks like meat,
I prefer it
Meaty?
to be like leather.
like jerky.
Oh no.
Yeah.
See, when she said with A1 steak sauce, though, I was like, a good
Yes,
a
see,
good
everybody
steak don't
says
need
that.
no
They're
sauce.
like, a good steak doesn't need sauce.
It
people
doesn't.
Say. But I like a lot of flavor and a lot of salt. So whether or not you put
Well,
a lot
then
of
you
stuff
put a lot
on
of
your
flavor
steak,
and a lot of salt on the steak.
No, I will say.
Okay.
Wayne,
I-
don't you
I-
dare!
I
don't
will
you
say-
dare!
Listen,
I have
I
the next
I cook
part.
a really good steak, okay? But there is something that just hits different when
Then
you
your
get a
steak
nice
ain't good
steak
enough.
and
Then
you
your
just dip
steak
it in-
ain't good enough.
A1 sauce is just good. You ever eat it
The
with?
A1 sauce is really good. Okay, so then after the steak,
Oh, we're
I
going
would
like
like-
5 courses.
It's her last meal. If she
Excuse
on
me.
death row, she
Yes,
getting
first.
5 courses.
I'm sorry. that
French
was
onion
judgy.
soup, steak, maybe mashed potatoes on the side.
Yeah.
Maybe some green beans.
Mhm.
And then to finish off, creme brulee for my dessert.
Creme brulee
Wait,
is
hold
good.
on.
As long as it's
So
not
good.
burnt.
And a
Sometimes you
Coke.
get
Did
it
I
as-
mention a Coke?
Sometimes you get creme brulee and it's too burnt.
Okay.
And it's not good. It's gotta be
Then they
perfect.
have not
Is
made
this
it right.
is this the thing that you made over the? Didn't you
Yeah,
make
I did
one
make
in your?
one. I made one in a culinary class that I had. It was
Is
a
is the
crazy
creme brulee
class.
the one where they?
You have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like
It
you
It
take
has like
a
the
torch.
crusted on the
yeah,
top.
and
Yeah,
you like
it's so good.
It's sugar, right? You put a
Yeah.
layer of
yes,
sugar.
You put a
in
layer
it.
of sugar. It's like the big pieces of sugar, and then you put it on
Yeah.
top, and then you have to, yeah. and then
You know how to
serve
make
it.
this?
Mhm.
Well,
Anyway,
Okay.
hospitality.
We're not doing it right now.
Favorite book of the Bible.
Favorite book of the we're still going. Okay, favorite book of the Bible, James. It's like my
Why
go-to.
James?
Why James? Probably because of like this moment, this like season in my life. I was working at camp. Shout out to Camp Cross Point. Favorite place ever? Not favorite place. Well, yes. Oh, whoa. I forget this is like a one take one. This is not good for me. Favorite place
a
ever.
one take one. It's a one take wonder.
But I have several favorite places, and
Yes.
Camp Cross Point is one that means a lot to me. And over the summer, that one time I was working, we did like a Bible study, and it was James, and it was like a pivotal moment in my walk with the Lord where I was like, whoa, this is in the Bible? Like, you would think that it would be, but it,
gotcha.
like you're like, whoa. Because it just like literally is step by step
Yeah.
how to be a Christian, how to like walk closer with the Lord. So just a go-to.
For
Quick
sure.
and
That's a good one. So recently, Katie, update for your life.
yes.
You recently got something, but it connected us in a way. What'd you get?
Oh, I got a puppy.
So
Her
Albus.
name is Honey.
So Albus is the brother.
Can my phone show up on here?
I don't know if it will, but you can give it a shot.
I'm trying to show Albie for those who haven't seen it.
Oh,
But-
Honey. Oh my God.
Oh.
Look, this is you holding Honey. Wayne.
The honey. I don't know. Can I don't
The
think
Honey. You probably can't.
you
That's
can't
okay.
see. I wish we could flash him up there. Oh,
But
Palmer,
she
Palmer's
looks
my-
nothing like
But no,
Albus,
this dog
so
is
don't let
dirty.
it fool you.
This dog is dirty right now. This man, he is digging in
Albus.
holes. What's the character off of Holes' name? Stan.
Yeah.
What's the little kid? What's the little Zero. Maybe that's what your name should be, Zero, because
We just gonna let him chill there?
he's just gonna chill.
Like, this is the opposite of my dog. I just have to say.
They're the complete opposite.
Albus is so chill.
I
I
know.
want to cut these like hairs on his eye.
Don't he didn't want that. He
He's
turned.
not happy with me.
He's not happy, but all
And my
right.
roommate has one too. So
Yeah.
shout out to Lindsay and B.
Lindsay has one, and then Alyssa in our group has one. Elena at Gather has
And
one.
we're all gonna have a puppy play
How
day.
many of
My
it-
life has changed forever.
How many are here? 5?
5 or 6.
Shout out
yeah.
to Kaylin for
I
hooking
have
everybody
to.
up with the puppies.
Yeah,
I know.
Kaylin Henderson.
It's wild. So
Shout out to you.
yeah. Well, hopefully
Cool.
people. Hopefully,
Any other questions about me?
Do we have any more?
I don't know if we have any more. I think we're gonna get to more when we start talking about
Okay,
hospitality,
cool.
which we're gonna shift. But hey, Albus, do you have any more?
very
Do you have any questions? No. Do you want to go down?
I think he's chilling, bro.
There's no way this man's gonna chill right here the whole
I
time.
He
bet money
really
he does.
is
How much you want to
doing
bet he sits through the whole episode?
He just sits- Why are people gonna be like, you put your dog on the table for the episode? Put him down on the ground.
I got it.
Bye, buddy. Uncle Coy's gonna put you on the ground. I think anything that has a cold surface he likes.
Exposed him.
Yeah, you did. How much does your dog weigh?
I think we just got her weighed, and I want to say she's like 13 pounds.
Hey.
That's what you get for throwing that candy wrapper on the
I
floor.
know.
What about Elvis?
He's 12.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
can't believe Honey weighs more than
I know, and I'm
him.
like, didn't you get the runt?
Yes, I did.
So, well, anyways, okay, here we go. This is the part of the podcast where we shift a little bit. So, give the background of you're going to college. Tell us, what are you studying at college? What is?
Yeah. So.
And why?
Okay. Well, I'm in my last year, so I graduate in May, and I'm studying hospitality. I think the official title is like hospitality and tourism management, but yes, that's my major. And why? If I'm being like totally honest, I don't really like school that much. And so when I was graduating high school, I was like, college is the next step. What am I going to do? What do I like? And I was looking at a bunch of universities, and UCF popped up, and they had the hospitality major. And I was reading the description, and I like remember like sitting in my parents' room and talking to my dad and being like, whoa, like I have just found something that is me. And it was like one of the first moments where I'm like, this seems like something I want to do, something I want to pursue. It was all about people and helping people and travel, and so that was kind of like the start to the journey.
Wow. And then you found Coastal. So
Good old CCGA.
CCGA, Hail This Sail.
Whoa.
With this, I think someone just kicked something. Or he's not chewing. So you found Coastal.
Yes, I found Coastal.
And I met you a year before. You were actually a senior in high school, I think, right?
Yes.
When I met you, you came and visited.
Yeah, I was like, was I a junior? No, I was a senior. Yeah, because I had already been like looking at the college, and I knew I wanted to go to a smaller college. I went to UCF.
Why did you want to go to a smaller college?
Okay, cool. So that's a good question. I was like visiting a lot, and I like high school. So I did like 12 years at a private Christian school. So I was very used to that like smaller atmosphere. And so when I was looking at colleges, it was just the big ones were just very overwhelming to me. And not that I don't think I was ever like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I knew I wanted to that like smaller atmosphere. And like Coastal had that, and it just seemed like they were going to care more. And then I met you, and I found out about Converge.
Who was with me that day?
It was Nico.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it was wild. And that Victoria.
And Victoria.
Yeah. And crazy that now I'm.
You're here, and then
yeah,
now
and my roommate is his fiance.
It's his fiance. It's
yeah,
the wildest
really
thing.
Cool.
No,
So.
no, I'll get to you later.
I thought about that.
I'm pretty sure I'm DJing their wedding.
Yeah, I think you are. You are.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a bomb.
That's gonna be fun. But yeah, so that's kind of how I chose Coastal, was just because, yeah, I fell in love with the area. Like it was really, like I could see myself being here, and I can say that it was a good choice.
We live into it. College is better by the beach. So
You heard it here first. Come to Coastal.
Yeah, you come to Coastal, Georgia, and then tell them that Wayne, Katie, and Coy sent you, and we represent Converge. Help us out.
Wayne is
Converge.
Coastal Georgia alumni Hall of Fame.
I am a Hall of Famer.
He stays around.
Hopefully you can. I think you deserve it.
Really?
There's
know.
usually one person that gets chosen out of Converge to go.
Wow.
So maybe a
I
professor.
don't know how it works.
A professor and a staff have to nominate you.
Could.
So maybe.
Gotta get it together.
Yeah, because you only have after this, we got 3 or 4 more weeks of school, and then you only have one more semester.
I mean, doing hospitality club, like you mentioned, will help, and we'll see.
Yeah. So hospitality, you're in some hospitality classes right now. That is a passion of yours. You work for a wedding planner.
Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
Like a
wedding planner. Shout out to Maggie Hughes Events.
But it's not. She just doesn't plan. You actually go.
Yeah. So I'm not a part of like necessarily the planning process. I just show up and I assist her and help her. Yeah. Like
so they plan, but then day of, it's like
it's like day of coordinating. Yeah.
Wow.
So I pretty much just like I get to be with a lot of people, which is cool. Like I think the planning side sometimes is very like tedious, but I'm gonna be seeing that soon. The more I like work with
I
it,
either
so.
grew up broke, or this is just a new job title,
Wedding
Yeah.
planner.
or a little bit of both. But I've never ever until recently started seeing day of people, and I'm like, they can make a job out of anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Like, you know, it's like
Now-
somebody had that idea
Sorry,
of like,
my
let's
eyes
just
are-
pay somebody to kind of be the person.
Well, yeah,
to
it
make
used to be
sure-
family, and I think
Well-
it works well now because now the family can actually enjoy the wedding without having
Yeah.
to work.
It was the family, and then also, you know, like Becca, like her wedding, she was the first person I talked to who was like, she asked a friend. Like, people ask friends to be your day of coordinator.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, I see
But-
that a lot with DJing as well.
Yeah, I think it's like that's a lot of people say that. A lot of people who are not in hospitality say that statement of like, you can make a job out of anything, or like, what is hospitality, or like
You do know I have.
several businesses that you've started.
No, I'm saying my degree and part of it was with hospitality.
Yes,
I took the
but
same
I'm
classes
just
as her.
saying, it reminds me that a lot of people
No.
look at the major sometimes, and it's like, what is it? But I
No.
think it's cool that when the more I do it, and the more I see other people's gifts too. Like
Yeah.
there's like compartments, department. I don't know,
Yeah.
little sections that people all have different gifts that they're like gifted in, and
Yeah,
you're also not stuck in that one spot too.
that is true.
Like I was listening to another podcast that was talking about that, where it's like you are not like, it could just be for a season, could be, I don't know where I'm
Yeah.
going, but
No,
yeah.
that's so true. I thought I was gonna. I'm just kidding.
You thought you were gonna what?
I thought I was gonna be
Be a
out.
wedding planner? I'm just kidding.
That would be. I don't think. I don't have the coordinating. I don't have the detail oriented. The ideas though. I can
And
come
the
up with some.
design, yeah.
Maybe that, but not the. We would. This
Wayne
would
be like a wedding decorator. Not a florist, but like a wedding
That's the
decorator.
thing.
Did
It's
you
called
see-
design.
You see me out there like putting up the arch with the.
Yeah,
the
Yes. the
that's
balloon
literally
arch.
what you do.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so anyways, let's focus, on the topic
Yes.
at hand, hospitality and biblical hospitality. And the reason we had this thought, it came a couple months ago from
Anna Grace.
Shelby's
Shelby.
friend. They were talking about biblical hospitality, and then it made me even think more about biblical hospitality. And really, what is that? Because as believers, we should have some sense of hospitality, but we are oftentimes not very hospitable, nor do we even have a good kind of view of hospitality.
Yeah,
Because we like our groups, we like to get in our course, and we kind of stay there, but does that reflect the kingdom of God? And so just give us your best shot at answer, or kind of just broadening what kind of hospitality, biblical hospitality, where have you seen it in your life, and then we'll go from there.
for sure.
Cool. Okay, wow. That's a really broad thing. Well, I've been thinking about it since you told me biblical hospitality. And
Hey, what would you say it is?
what would I say? Just what it is. Well, I mean, of course, I think to scripture first. And I would say we have to look at Jesus, and we have to look at, like, the first word that comes to my mind is love. And I think I will answer your question with kind of another question, if I can, of like,
Hey, you
what.
can do whatever you want on
So
Take a
I'm
Low
just
podcast.
like, I feel like it's hard
We
to
kind of
answer
fly
that.
by the wheel here.
Well, it's hard to answer that question without asking this question of like, what makes biblical hospitality different than hospitality in the world, or what makes just hospitality versus like what the world would say hospitality is. And so
Could you
go
even-
ahead, and then I'll answer.
I would say, I'm going to hit your question with the question.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
Could you take hospitality all the way back to an original trait that God had inflicted from, or
Original
like
trait.
given, like, we're made in the image of God. And
Yeah.
part of that,
Well-
I feel like part of God's original plan, he
Yeah.
was hospitable when he created the Garden of
Mm-hmm.
Eden, and he placed them in there and said, you can take part of everything.
Yeah.
He was hospitable. He
Mm-hmm.
made them a place to live. He made them a place to,
Or acceptance when we don't necessarily like deserve it. And I don't know if you'll say, like, if you'll ask me another question later on and I could answer with this, but this is kind of like the statement in my head of we in the world, the hospitality industry is very make everything look really nice and everything has to be perfect and let's indulge and let's, do all this stuff to make things good. And biblical hospitality is no, like, come as you are, and like you can show up and you don't have to be a certain way. Things don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I reposted something on my like story recently about it was this company, the Daily Grace Co., and it was about how like why do we I mean I've taken a lot of stuff, I guess, that they, I know, like, shout out, repost, okay, that I got distracted, that you don't have to, your house does not have to be perfect to invite people into it, and you don't have to be perfect to invite people into your life, because like Jesus wants us as we are. God sent Jesus because we are not
I think
perfect.
you could also say, like, quit looking for perfect people to invite into your life.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
So in some of my prep and study for this, part of the big idea is, you said it earlier, that hospitality is a reflection of love. And like that, if we are called to, as believers, then God says love your God or with everything, and then he says love your neighbor as yourself. Like, hospitality is an expression of love. The Greek word for hospitality in the New Testament is derived from a word, the love of strangers. Like, when you think about that and you think about your generation, do you see a disconnect, and why?
Yeah, I think.
And I say your generation, our generation. I feel like we're still.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. Yeah. Do I see a disconnect? Yes, and I think that I can even be guilty of it sometimes, even more. I'd say I haven't been. I think I was even talking to you on Monday. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't feel like it. And I think it's lots of times we don't feel like it because we haven't spent that time with the Lord, or we haven't spent time in scripture, or we're not coming back to the reason why we love people and accept people and love strangers is because of the gospel. And if we don't understand it, we're not going to do that for other people. So I think that's part of it. I think people are like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I think my generation likes to just stay in their lane, likes to just do their thing, likes just being with their people. And they're comfortable that way. They don't want to come out of their comfort zone. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of depression. So it's just like all that range of stuff, I think, quenches hospitality.
Well, I think there's also a lot of, if I may jump in, I feel like our generation feels a lot of pressure, and I don't really know why, as to like make others, like, to be likable by other people, and like about what other people think about you.
And I think you guys kind of said it earlier that I would root it in is people make you said it, people make hospitality this bougie, like, perfect, like everything has to be an order thing. When it's not. Biblical hospitality is not that. It is literally serving someone and loving somebody, and a little bit is we're done in being generous to somebody.
Well, and that's like another thing I was gonna say, like kind of bouncing off of both of you and answering your question, is that we are quick maybe sometimes to accept other people, but then or maybe not accept, but like reach out to other people, but we won't let people in to our like pain and our messiness. Like I think that happens a lot of like, oh, I want you to be a part of, like, I want to be a part of your mess, but I'm not going to let you
like a
be a part of my mess.
Type attitude.
And I do that a lot of like, oh, I'm going to like lead and I'm going to serve and I'm going to sit down with you and ask questions. But then when I'm not doing good, I'm not going to let you in. And like, really, like, deep hospitality and biblical hospitality is relationships with people. And so you're not going to get anywhere if you're not able to open up. But it's like, how do we do that?
Well, I've talked to Hannah Grace, and like, I think that it can even go back to ministry. Like, I remember sometime in the past few months, me and her have had a conversation where I said something that I see, and I think it's something that you should see. And all of my favorite pastors and like pastors that I look up to are ones like Joby Martin, or is that his last name? Martin? Joby Martin, Jonathan Pokluda, Mark Fritchman, Bo, that will stand up on stage and admit their faults.
Yeah.
I think part of being hospitable is showing that you aren't perfect either.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But it's like, how do we let people... Yeah, I don't know if you had another question.
Well,
we could go down a whole rabbit hole of like, how do we let our walls down and let people in? And I guess that has to be based off of like trust.
I think a little bit of that, but fighting the unusualness of it, or that weird feeling of like you not. So like for me, I would say, you know, I thought I actually wanted my degree in hospitality, and I ended up switching it because they started a marketing program, and this new guy came, Scott Williamson. He's actually going to be a future guest of the podcast. Super excited.
No way.
He actually asked me to be on. I was excited. I was like,
Has he
what?
been listening to that?
Yes.
Scott.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
just kidding. Sorry,
Okay,
was I
we're
allowed to
geeking
say
out.
that?
Shout out.
Professor Scott Williamson.
Professor Scott.
Scott. No, you can't call him that until you graduate. He's Professor Williamson. to you.
Whoopsies.
But anyways,
It's okay.
until he came in and started the marketing thing, and I was like, oh, I really like graphic design. But one of the things, like when Hudson and me lived in the front house, I told him, hey, I hope you're okay with this, but I want to throw as many gatherings as possible at his house and inviting people like off the campus. And in my goal, it was like, there's so much. At the time, it felt the campus was in the fall time, it gets so dark and it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on. And when you're walking the campus at night, it just seems gloomy. So we're like, let's have like a gathering where it's just full of life. We told everybody it was parties, and, you know, that's where like the whole party starter thing started coming out, and everyone thought we were like throwing ragers, but it was really like, and when they would come over and they're like, it said free drinks. We're like, well, there's root beer, there's Coke, there's coffee. Like that's where all that started. And it was so cool. One time we had like 150 something people in that front house in the yard. Tables were everywhere. We had a live band. It was so cool to see, you know, when we're hospitable with people, so much life begins to happen. And we don't have, you know, there's a part of us that when that first time it happened, we were nervous out of like our walls. Nico was actually a part of that. Quentin was a part of that. Like we were all nervous. We were like, oh, we got to get the house perfectly in order. And we were like putting an effort to, you know, we care about our space and we're wanting to be good stewards of it. But that first time it felt awkward because we didn't know what to do with ourselves. Like once you threw the party, like once you threw the gathering,
then it's like,
you're
how
like,
do you approach people? How do you
Yeah.
approach people you don't know? Like it's hard, like it's awkward, and you have to get
Even
through.
when it's your house.
I have a quote that just came to my head that I'm sorry, I've always wanted to say this on a podcast, but it's something I heard, and I wish I could give credit to the person, but I can't remember. But it's like, actually, I probably could tell you. I think it's Jordan Lee Dooley. Anyways, super cool girl. Follow her on Instagram. Author. I think she said something along the lines of like, 5 seconds of awkward can save you. Wait. Oh no, I'm gonna butcher it. 5 seconds in awkward can. What? Why does it keep
lights.
flickering
I-
like
no,
that?
Coy, if you're touching that wire down there, it'll flicker.
Oh, 5 seconds of awkward can save you a lifetime of regret. And
that's so good.
that has like stuck in my head. I actually don't think it is Jordan Lee Dooley. Anyway, she's great, but I can't remember who it is.
Whoever, 5 seconds.
Whoever it is, it could be Sadie Robertson, to be honest. I listen to a lot of people, and that quote has stuck with me and it's good to be reminded of that again when you do approach strangers or like people at Converge, or if you are in a hospitality role, like that 5 seconds of awkward with that new person could save you a lifetime of regret. You don't know who you're gonna meet. You don't know who you're gonna touch. Like,
An example of that, Katie was, I think, working a wedding, and then like you were at a wedding, you were doing something, you were helping with a wedding, and it was of a pastor guy or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you just like had this
That's funny.
something,
Yeah.
and then Andrew comes and was like walking on the beach and was like,
yeah,
this guy, I met him, and he was like, what do I know? Oh, Katie, I met Katie, and she,
I was like just having a little conversation with this guy. I didn't think anything was gonna like come of it, but he remembered the name of the gathering place, and then when he bumped into Andrew, he was like, oh, I talked to a girl that mentioned it. And so it was just a cool reminder. Like, I don't think the conversation really, you know, I don't know if it's gonna matter at all, but I think it was just a good reminder. Like, you don't know who you're gonna talk to or who's gonna remember what you say or your interaction, or just even like seeing somebody. Like, I've had so many moments of that.
I think any like good interaction you have with some matters.
Yeah, it's true.
You're always
No, it
planting
is.
seeds.
And you know, in the back of my head, I was like, oh, this guy probably doesn't meet a lot of people my age who know the Lord and have a relationship with the Lord. So what if this is just encouraging to him of my generation?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
and I think in all of that, the 5 seconds of awkwardness can lead to a lifetime of regret. Really like that tattoo. I'm just kidding.
It's a good quote.
No regrets.
I wish I could
No
give the
regrets.
person
No
credit.
regrets. But I think that's oftentimes, again, the awkwardness is what hinders us from being hospitable. I think you could label 100 different excuses of, am I gonna have to walk with this person? Am I gonna have to talk to this one person? Like if I invite one random stranger that doesn't know, am I gonna have to hold their hand? And I think, those are all good questions to think about. But I think those are where you have, like, one of the cool things when me and Nico and Quentin and Hudson started the yard and these gatherings, it was all 4 of us, and so we were just like, we just want to love on everybody who comes into this house, and we're going to talk to everybody as much as we can. And when you have that many people, it's hard to always remember names, and
That's like the hardest thing. Yeah.
and I think there's grace in that. But again, don't not do something because you think it's going to be awkward or you don't think you're going to have the words. And I think even hospitality comes into even the gospel a lot, which we're going to talk about in a second, of like, again, the more hospitable you are, think about how you're laying the foundation to even share the gospel even more clearly. Because like every time Jesus was sharing the gospel, he always put it around something, whether it was a table, a gathering. It was like he was hosting people, and he even hosted people in other people's houses and invited people. It's like I always think Zacchaeus. Like I think about that. Like even in that, sometimes the hospitality, it doesn't even have to be our space to be hospitable.
We're like
Also,
Mary and Martha is what I always think about.
Oh yes, and also too, this is one is Rahab. Sorry, I can't say it. Rahab and her whole thing, and I was like thinking about that story, and then thinking about also what I had said about how we don't let people in because of our like messiness, and like she was a prostitute, and she could have been like, oh yeah, no, I don't want y'all to come in here, like I'm not, but she like welcomed them in, and that's like a small story. But yeah, and Mary and Martha, and Jesus was literally like, but in that, Martha was like doing all this stuff, and he's like, yo, chill, so like that's why I can be like,
It's like
that was so out of context. I'm so sorry.
We know what we're saying,
like,
but
God,
they
he
are
said,
like, wait, what?
I feel like I could probably come up with it where he's like, or we can look it up. We should have it.
He
laid
tells
out,
Martha.
He tells Mother, there are many things, but one thing is necessary. Something along those lines. One thing is necessary, and Mary knows it.
Well,
or
Mary's
something along
focused
those
on
lines.
him,
Yes.
the guest, whereas Martha's focused on cleaning and
Which comes back to literally another thing I was thinking of, like, that is hospitality too, of like we have to be poured into before we can pour into other people. And I'm learning that like over and over.
Yeah, I think what I was saying was like I think going back to like what Wayne said about like your home or whatever having to be perfect. Like
that
I think
too, yeah.
maybe not focus on so much of like the space as much as you do just the quality time spent with that person. I think can be hospitality.
That's a good one. That's a good way to look at it.
And I think it wasn't that Jesus told Martha what she was doing was bad.
Yeah.
I think it was right thing, wrong time.
Yeah.
I think, again, this is something that I've been trying to do better, is if I spend time being a good steward of my space, that when people come, I don't have to rush to make my space clean. And then when they're here, I'm not trying to clean when it's not supposed to be about the space. It's supposed to be about the person. And so for us, did he just...
Laughing at me burping?
He
I
just
said, excuse me.
He just burped.
I know, but that made
But
it
I
even more
think,
funny.
But I think that
Sorry, I'm listening.
when he was like, a lot of things are necessary, or what a lot
One thing or many things.
None of us
many
have
things,
a Bible.
Yeah, I
it
know.
just all I know is he says one thing is necessary, and Mary has chosen the right one.
Yes,
or
and
like
it's the
I
feet
feel
of
like
Jesus,
I could find it
where,
if you want me to.
Well, I think where are we at on time,
One
P-Dog?
Thing is
43.
Oh.
So I want to. We got to kind of shift a little gears
we're
here.
like going on.
So hospitality isn't in the Bible. It's not presented as a suggestion, but a command.
Yeah.
And when we think about it, there's grace, but there are some commands that we oftentimes look at as suggestions. Like Jesus says, hey, when you go make disciples, teach them to obey all that I've commanded you to do. And I feel like this generation has taken the Bible and made them suggestions. And I see a lot, especially in Converge, people are. It's like I want to know more about these commands. I want to know more about what Jesus taught.
Like rest.
Yes.
People are treating rest like it was
Yeah.
like to rest was a suggestion from
Yeah.
God.
Or even the verse of like
Like we've talked
love
about that
one
already,
another like as
Yeah.
I have loved you. Like he's not saying like if you feel like it, you
No.
know, love people. You know, if you have the time,
Yes.
love people as I have loved you. You know, and I'm like preaching to myself.
As we always should be.
No,
I preach to
I'm just saying,
yeah,
like,
I am.
it's easy to just be like, this is it. But, like, I actually want to.
But it's those
apply
things.
these
It's
things.
kind of like the 5 seconds of awkwardness would be a big life of regret of like, man,
Yes.
if you just took one step in that direction, it glorifies
Yeah.
God. Just one step. The unrighteous person falls 6 times, but the righteous gets back up 1. Like one step is the difference there. It's like if you could just take, and so it says, hospitality isn't just a good thing. It's a command. It's what we're supposed to do and practice. And I feel like, again, when we first did the yard, we had no idea what we were doing. We had never done it before. When we saw all these people here, we were like, we got to do this again. And every time we did it again and again, it got better and better and more, where it wasn't like we were serving in the sense of like me walk around and like get people drinks or food or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But it was like we found a way where it was like so people oriented. Now we don't do them much anymore because they're different. I think this generation isn't let's throw a 180 person party, but let's invite 15 people over the house and just have fun and enjoy games and fellowship.
And it's been, I feel like that's what the Lord has been teaching me more about. And it could be like hospitality related or just like ministry related, but that we don't have to be like this big thing and we don't have to have these, I don't know. We don't have these big connections. Like it can be simple and that can be enough. And I think Andrew's message last night really like hit that home too of like, we do not know when the end is. And like, why are we wasting time trying to get big, trying to be famous, or why are we wasting time trying to be like perfect at something when really like we just live.
And I think in that it's like it's the heart posture. I think in all of this you go back pride in the root of all things.
I think everything goes back to the heart posture.
It goes back to the posture of your heart, and so
gospel-centered life.
When
Shout
you
out
think
to
about
Travis.
it's 1 Peter 4:9 says, show hospitality to one another without grumbling. When you hear that, what does your mind think? Show hospitality without grumbling.
You want me to be honest?
Yeah.
I think about a little off topic, but I think about my pastor
Your
back
stomach? Oh, okay.
Why
Oh,
you're hitting the table?
I thought you were going to say
talking about being a cheerful
my
giver.
stomach grumbling.
Yeah.
That's off topic, but
There's a song. It's like, be a cheerful giver. Actually, no, I don't know. Maybe not.
There could be if you wrote one.
But
I
without
thought there
grumbling.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what does your mind think about that? Like,
I think-
can you go to a moment in your life where you were trying to be hospitable, and the next thing you realize you're grumbling about
I
being
can.
hospitable?
Oh,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. I think any time that like my family has had like, so as my grandparents have gotten older, and this is not a brag, but maybe a blessing, but my parents have the house that is more suited for like family Christmas gatherings instead of it being at my grandparents. So a lot of times around Thanksgiving and Christmas and time, there'll be like 30, 40 people at my house on like Christmas Eve weekend and stuff like that. And I can think about like going into that being like, yeah, all my family's here. And then like by the time they leave, I'm like, I'm ready for everybody to leave. If that makes sense.
I'm like that too. I tend to be that way as well.
No diss to my family.
I know. I'm like,
love
if
having
my
you guys. It's
Family
just-
ever watches
yeah.
this? I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I'm just saying like, it can be a lot
I
sometimes.
think we all can be that way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they're that way about
When
us.
yeah.
But when I read this, and Peter, when I read this letter, that there must have been people like us struggling with hospitality. If it had to be written, hey, be hospitable without grumbling.
I wonder if there was like cliques too.
Well, I think
of people.
Sure there was.
Yeah, like why do we think it was like perfect back then? When
Well, I think
it
it all
was
goes
not.
about like remembering how hospitable God and like Jesus has been to us.
Yeah.
And then in remembrance of that makes you be like within that there is you becoming a cheerful however you would say that.
Yeah.
You're hospitable.
You're cheerfully hospitable.
And even with that, I think sometimes the enemy wants to distort our hospitality, and will oftentimes, you might have said this like me before, where it's like, I wish they would just see like, or I wish they would just feel why, like I'm trying to be hospitable, I'm trying to do this, and then people like don't appreciate it or they don't love it, and then you make it about you, but you oftentimes it's not where you go, like your heart didn't get you there initially. It's like you did it because you want to love people, and then by the time the event's going on or whatever's happening,
it turns into
you start thinking about you, and you're processing things over and over. And I'm like, I wish they would just feel the service that I just did. Like I wish that, like, I just served you, or I wish people would. And then you're like, oh, I'm this command of show hospitality without grumbling.
Like what I texted you today that I want to do a thing on, like serving out of gratefulness.
Yeah, gratitude.
Yeah.
I would also say too that like I think there are moments. There's some days where I am not feeling like being hospitable. I feel like I'm not speaking clearly. There are some days where I do not feel like being hospitable, but then there are other times where I really have spent time with the Lord, or I am feeling like it, I guess. Which even when we don't feel like it, we should still be. But in my guest services class or customer services class I have this semester, my brain is like, I feel like I'm losing it, y'all. It's been too long. Customer service class, we were talking about what customer service is, and one of the things that came to my head was like, honestly, like letting go of self and like being focused on other people. So that's what I wanted to say, of there's something really special and unique as believers about like not thinking about yourself, and just like there's been moments where I'm like, in the depths of my heart from the Lord, I'm like, yes, that is what being a believer is about, is like, is doing that for other people when the world would be like,
love it.
what?
You just even said it. The next thing I had written in my notes is biblical hospitality is also tied to the character of a believer. And especially, I was thinking of those in leadership, of like, we like, especially I had this kind of tied to kind of Converge, because you guys both help with Converge, and we put this on of like, man, if we're wanting to invite people into a space that maybe don't even believe or act like us, or want to be like us, or want to believe like us, or whatever it may be, what is like, there is a sense of serving that they'll want to come back, because they're like, man, those people loved so well. Like, if that could be the lead of all the hospitality things, it's like, if I could lead with love, and like, I am not here for anything other than to see you, to know you, to care for you, to love you. Like, it's not a selfish gain. And I think that's the hard problem of.
And it's hard when there's like nothing. Yeah, I feel like we could like brainstorm practical way, because it's like hard when there's not really anything you're necessarily like doing. I'm putting my phone on do not disturb. Things that you're necessarily like doing. Like, I've been in situations where I'm like serving people like sweet tea, or I'm like bussing tables, or I'm greeting people, and it's like you have a task and all you have to do is smile. It's harder when you're doing hospitality in like a ministry setting, or a setting where your like only task is really to like build relationships with people. I struggled with that even over the summer with like middle school and high school. You're like building relationships, and it's hard. And so it's like, what are some practical ways where you can be like, okay, I'm gonna be hospitable, and it's for the long run. It's not just a moment,
One thing is where Peter, where we at on time? 52. As we're running down on time.
Oh,
I think this has been a great conversation, and again, it even opens the door to have like further conversation. Is in a lot of the scriptural verse, it is saying practice hospitality and show hospitality. And I think when you think about the practice, or like the practical, again, practical means practice. When people are like, hey, can we put it in a practical thing? It's like, okay, I'm going to give you something practical, but you got to practice it. It's not like you're just going to do it well the first time, or the second time, or the third time. It's something that has to be practiced and learned, and you got to mess up a little bit and say, okay, man, I didn't do this well, or man, I should have, put, this, whatever the instance may be of, I put the food out too early, or, or I had the music too loud and people
Yeah.
couldn't have a conversation,
Yeah.
or it's not going to be perfect the first time, but you notice those things and you're like, oh, then this isn't going to
Like the
stop me
podcast.
from doing like the
Like
podcast.
we got told today, my mic been too loud.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah.
There is
Good
feedback.
critiques.
And
Give us feedback, please.
and so I think when we think practical, man, if you could just invite, I thought of, like in high school, not high school, in college, I don't know what I was in high school. My goal, you can ask Hudson this, because he was like, what's your goal for college when we became friends? I said, I want to meet every single person on campus. Like, that was a goal of mine. In 4 years, like, I wanted to try to meet as many people on campus. And every day when I walked to that school, I was looking because I had this goal and I wanted to practice meeting new people. Like, I just want to be able to, that's why I think now I love walking on campus every year, first day back of school. I'm rolling around campus with a bunch of carts with soda and coffee, and this is something that I just do. And the school now expects, like, Wayne to be walking around with carts and coffee, and that, like, you do it so many times, people are starting to think, oh, you're the tour guide, or you're the guy that's helping people.
Do you work for the school?
Yeah, they're like, yeah. But again, it always because I just wanted to show hospitality. But now when you're walking on campus after doing that, like, and you go meet somebody on campus in August or October, they're like, oh, you're the guy from the first day of school.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, that one hospitality opened the door for what's about to come next. Oh, yeah, I am. You want to come hang out tonight? We got this thing in Stimler. Or you want to come over to our house this week? We have this event.
Yeah.
And I think it just is
Let's
practice.
start walking every Monday before Converge next semester.
Every Monday, just walk the campus?
Every Monday, just walk the
I
campus.
mean, I'm down. Any?
That could be cool.
After you
anytime-
get out your staff meeting Monday morning, let's just go walk the campus.
I think it's a great idea if people don't have. All right, so end of it. Biblical hospitality, multifaceted concept involving love, generosity, and caring for others, including strangers. And it is a fundamental aspect of the Christian life. And if you are listening, and I think in all of us, and you think you struggle with hospitality, that just means, oh, that's an area of my life that deserves a little more focus. And
Nothing
it's like,
wrong with you.
yeah, no, there's nothing. And I even would go to say, if you think that you're not hospitable, that is a lie from the enemy. Everybody is hospitable in a different area. I think for me, I found myself most hospitable in home settings, like, inviting people in the house. I think there are some people I will never forget, the people that was a group of gamers that used to sit out in you've heard me talk about them before, in the Stimler right outside, and they would, before Converge, they'd have these board games or whatever, and like that was them, like they were showing hospitality, inviting people into playing board. So
Can I say
go
one last
ahead.
thing towards that? We're closing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would just say to those people that are like, oh, I'm not hospitable or whatever, just look for that one person that's on the outside. Like, look for that one person that doesn't really seem like they know anybody, or they could be sad, or they could just look sad. But I'm serious. Some people just look sad. But you could go up to them. I'm not going to be like, oh, I was that girl. But that's like a huge part of my like story, was being on the outside looking in lots of times. And Jesus, his love, is the reason why like we feel accepted, and why I have a purpose and you have a purpose. And so let's give that to other people, and have our eyes open to those people that may not have a crew, may not have a group, and you taking that step isn't going to do any harm. So.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And wow, biblical hospitality, being more hospitable. I love talking about it, and I think don't let somebody else's. That was Albus. Don't let somebody, like, I would encourage people, like, they will so quickly be like, oh no, that's their gift. A gift is something that's been given to someone without any hesitation of like, oh, you earned it or you deserved it. And so don't be afraid to ask God for the gift to help showing people and be hospitable. Like, he will give gifts to help you fulfill what he has commanded you to do.
Like renew
a
steadfast
and
spirit.
so
What's that verse?
but Well, Katie, welcome to the podcast crew now.
Thanks.
You are episode 6.
I think.
And I'm not
No, I
like
think
sure
the
it's
last one
episode
was 6. The last one
Yeah,
was 6. I
the-
listened
this
to
is
it.
this is
I'm
7.
pretty sure this
Episode
is
7.
Evan.
Wait,
I don't,
actually,
wait.
maybe it is. No, this is 6 because the last
This
one was
is-
5.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
Okay.
So sorry.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
But I think Katie needs to be a little more of a regular. I enjoyed
Yeah.
this conversation. It was
Thank you.
you heard it on the podcast, so now she can use this to be like, hey
Wow.
guys, you said I'm a little more regular.
Yeah.
That was like every week, but once
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't be Banner. Banner says
Yeah,
he wants to hear
Banner.
every week.
Banner tried to be the third host
Yeah.
of the.
Banner.
But anyways, well,
this
thanks
is
for
fun.
listening. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share this with somebody. Please share this with somebody,
And make them subscribe.
and make them.
And
No,
excuse our rambling.
Here's what I
Yeah.
want you to do.
Excuse
Start
my
taking all your
rambling.
friends' phones. Get them and just get them. Ask
Skip
them to
to
borrow
the-
your phone, and then I want you to go to Spotify
And then
subscribe and turn on post notifications.
so then when we post, they're like, "Oh, what is this?"
yeah, there
you
we
know?
go. There we go.
So, but anyways, hey everybody, let's shout out to Palmer for producing this
Palmer, you
episode.
can cut to your camera real quick.
Cut to your camera real quick. I don't know if it
Go
worked.
Palmer.
Go
Is it
Palmer.
work? Yeah, P-Dog. Oh man.
This was fun.
So, well, until next week,
High five.
we'll see y'all later. Great job.
Oh,
I hit you in the face.
yes.
Yes. Well, I'm Whoah.
Coy.
Katie. Wait, was I
Peace
supposed
out.
to say
Well,
that?
well,
Oh,
well,
okay.
hold on. Let's retry that. I'm Whoah.
Coy.
KT.
Enjoy taking a load off this week. See you later.